The disclaimer for copyright is as follows. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allows or allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and in this case research. Fair use is a use permitted under copyright law of the United States of America. Qumran Cave number 12. Could there be a unknown discoveries? Part number 1 by Ronald Stewart. Original photo credit Casey L. Olson and Oren Gutfeld. This is a small seal made of what is known as carnelian stone. It was found in the new Dead Sea Scroll Cave number 12, discovered sometimes during January 2017. It is believed that this is evidence that someone may have lived in this cave during the Neolithic period. Sometimes during January to February 2017, the distinguished Dr. Oren Gutfeld and also Dr. Ahiad Ovadia of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem's Institute of Archaeology and the distinguished Dr. Randall Price of Liberty University, USA, made a very important discovery in cave number 12 in Qumran, Jordan. Of the discoveries that were made, these archaeologists and their team worked exceptionally hard to be able to find the discoveries of what looked like a parchment that was not written upon and broken jar shards as well. And they also made the discovery of what we see here in the image before you of this small little seal that is made of a carnelian stone, which is thought to have been someone lived in this cave sometimes during the Neolithic period in the ancient past. However, the question is it possible that there could be yet undiscovered, unknown, greater, and or maybe just as important archaeological finds in the new cave number 12 in Qumran? The point is, no matter how good you are as an archaeologist or whoever, or scientist, you cannot discover what you cannot see. Meaning what specifically? Meaning that if there, for example, on this little carnelian stone, which is a seal, there could be hidden tiny images that have maybe faded due to time, that could be inscriptions or pictographs or images telling the story of cave number 12, would not that be important? A technology known as IMMI has an archaeological application that can reveal hidden details that cannot be distinguished or seen by the naked human eye. Now, what we're going to do next is turn this small little seal to the right to where we can see it horizontally and vertically in the way we need to see it in order to distinguish and see these small little possible alleged details that likely are consistent with the discoveries that have been made in cave number 12 already. But does this tell the story even further about the unknown possible discoveries in cave number 12? Yes, it does. And that's what we're going to take a look at even more so as we continue to see this image. Now here it's enlarged, but yet it is vague because you cannot see it very clearly. But we're going to attain a much higher resolution image here as we're doing this slowly, higher and higher resolution images as we look at this. And what we see in the top upper left corner, could that be an image or pictograph of a possible scribe? Now we see a much higher resolution image in the yellow outlined square area. This is going to be the first possible scribe that is either processing, it appears, or maybe even writing a possible alleged Dead Sea Scroll on what may be a rectangular-like, right-angled or slightly angled stone that has a smooth surface on it. Now, we're outlining it here to show what the scribe may look like. Right there. We outlined it right there. It looks like it is someone that's looking to the right. Their body position is to the right. We see that they have a headdress with an ornament on top, a headdress ornament, and then the face and the beard. And as though their hand or arm is also outstretched in the same way our hand or arm would be outstretched on a slight, maybe 2 to 3% right angled platform. And it's either processing or writing something. Now, in the bottom, we're going to consider this later on in the video, but this is a second possible scribe that is also taking care of possible Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, here in the upper top left corner is the original image. Right there, we see the little pointer pointing to the area right there that we just saw. And we're going to take a look. It's outlining it right there. The area where the possible scribe is looking to the right and writing to the right, and right there, it was also where it was pointing was possibly going to be also a intact Dead Sea Scroll jar. Now here in the next image, it's a higher resolution image that we see in the upper top middle. And then if we look here, as we saw before, there's the square outline, the yellow square outline, and here are two other images on the bottom. The right one's in color, the left one on the bottom, and that right one is an illustration to show what the scribe looks like writing a possible alleged Dead Sea Scroll. But does our examination stop here? No, it does not. For right here, what we're going to do is show this area. Now right there is the headdress. Right there. There's an ornament right there where it's pointing to. Headdress going back around the shoulders and back up. And then here we see the arm outstretched right there, and that looks like a writing utensil right there in his hand. Maybe writing on a Dead Sea Scroll on this rectangular-like stone, which we're going to examine more later as well. And then, right there to his left, that small area right there, could be a possible Dead Sea Scroll jar, maybe even one of the broken ones. Now here we show it in different colors to be able to give a better perspective and act as a visual aid as to what we're looking at. Now, did Dead Sea Scroll jars come in different sizes? Yes, they did. Matter of fact, some of them might have been only between about 18 to 24 inches high, as we see this one on the left, and the evidence of this is two actual Dead Sea Scroll jars as we see here on the right. One, of course, is larger than the other one. And right there where the pointer on the left, bottom left corner is pointing to, is where we see that possible Dead Sea Scroll jar as well. And we can see it's possibly, of course, the one here in the image to the right where it shows a larger and smaller one, of course, is larger, but of course the one on the left could be a small Dead Sea Scroll jar as well. And we correlate with this with the small Dead Sea Scroll jars. This can tell maybe what book was written in this cave as well. Now here we see the bottom left corner, and now we see the illustration to the right in the projected area of the possible scribe that is either processing or writing on the possible Dead Sea Scroll, as we see here. Now, we're going to take a look at this in a little bit more detail. We have on the left the original enlarged image, and then we have the much higher resolution image in the middle, so it can be compared. And then on the far right, we have again the same image that we see in the middle, but we also have an illustration to the right. Right there where that yellow arrow is pointing to the right is the illustration showing, which has striking similarity to what we see on the left of the yellow arrow, where it's pointing at the possible first scribe, possibly either processing or maybe even writing the Dead Sea Scroll in this cave. And here's additional evidence. Now here it is greatly enlarged. Here we're taking the pointer again and going around and showing the generalized area. And then now we see the illustration where the yellow arrow is pointing back and forth right there to the possible scribe that is writing the Dead Sea Scroll and or possibly allegedly processing it to dry. And that may be the partial Dead Sea Scroll parchment that was found that was never written on. And it might have been in a small jar like this. Now here, we're going to give the anatomical and show these areas in detail. Right there on the right illustration, and we also want to compare it with the left, where the yellow arrow points to, the headdress. Now here's the headdress ornament where the pointer points to right now. And we want to watch this carefully so we can compare the image on the left to the one on the right. Now here's a forehead, nose, mouth, and beard. Right there's a forehead, nose, mouth, and beard where the pointers are pointing to right there. Now we're going to go back and forth several times, and then look and compare it to the image on the left so we get an idea about where the scroll is and also the scribe that may be writing it or either processing it. Okay, so now we see the outstretched arm in the same position, like if we were to put our arm writing on something about in that position, or on a platform or an edsel with a piece of cardboard or some kind of demonstration we're giving. Right there would be the arm, and then here's a writing instrument right there, some type of writing instrument, maybe even a small brush made out of a feather or something like that, or a quill pen, who knows, possibly writing the Dead Sea Scrolls, the text part. Now the possibly Dead Sea Scroll is right there where the pointers are pointing to again, there, and there. And of course there are the ends where it's been rolled up as well. We have to remember the image on the left is more likely more than 2,000 years old. Now here on the bottom is a possible flat rectangular stone with a smooth surface to write on the Dead Sea Scroll on. Right there where the pointing to is pointing to right there. The left side and the right side right there, and compare that with what may be the same image on the left. Next, we take a look at the small little possible Dead Sea Scroll jar to put the DSS or the Dead Sea Scroll inside of in order to preserve it as they had done. And here the pointer again points to the small Dead Sea Scroll jar as we see it right there again as well. Now we want to continue to look at this again for re-emphasis. Right there's a possible DSS Dead Sea Scroll jar to put the Dead Sea Scroll in right there. Now we're seeing the double arrow pointing toward the illustration Dead Sea Scroll, and also the one on the left as well. The second scribe and Dead Sea Scroll jar are possibly now as follows. The second scribe, as we see on this small little area here, is within the yellow square outline. As we zoom into that to get a better view of the area as well. Now, here's that part we just took a look at. There's the top of the image, and there's the head and the neck, and there's possibly the jar right around in there. Okay? Now we're going to outline that in a black outline right there and go back and forth and back and forth. And what they have here, the second scribe is looking to the right, and we can also see to the right is a possible Dead Sea Scroll jar in like manner. However, this is conducive that this cave could have been used for this. Now we see, now we're going to take a look at the detailed look of the scribe here, and the background has been eliminated, or it's called bulky, where the front of the image is brought to the forefront in a limited 3D view. But here's the headdress, forehead and the eyes, nose, mouth right there, beard right there, and the front of the neck right there. Now, we're going to show that again. The headdress is right there where the first pointer points to. Right there's the forehead, eyes, nose, mouth, beard, and neck right there again in like manner. Now let's do that again. Headdress, forehead, eyes, nose, mouth, beard, and neck. Okay. We're going to be learning a lot more about this. But here's also the possible Dead Sea Scroll jar, as we see where the pointer is pointing to right there. We will learn much more about the possible unknown discoveries in cave number 12 in Qumran, which we'll learn much more about in part number 2. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.